know that you, oh yeah.
Our Facebook, we have no copyright to music playing in the background. Facebook, we have no copyright to music playing in the background. Once more, we have no copyright to music playing in the background. Facebook.
Promise to love you forever, but sharing a body that has fat. No cap, the people you happen to there with you and you on track. That's I pray for you and begin to hear when they don't say you on top. Wanna care for my enemy. If I wrong it today, I will ask for apology. I just treat that family. If my bunny won't pass, I just started a benefit. All of my movie, I move alone and none of my bunny are PJ. My dinner better up. So be letting my pet can watch the secret.
They be betting the laugh on the can afford it. Get in like weapons. The people is to go to live for you. Tell all I need to your secret rapper. I laugh for go back. First all the hand I tell you, but you have to do greater for her. Like a land in the church, Mampuka, or get our brother with steel. Each time I'm back out, we are, or you can make it up with the few.
DJ Spencer, keep making that beat up.
Each time I'm back out, we are, or you can make it up with the few.
People come around when you see your money. Everything I like, tell them say I'm money. We know what's there, we know that you, oh yeah, oh yeah. Tell them that you're the party, everybody we rap it when the fool finish. Everything I like, tell them say I live up in you. You know your friend, you know that you, oh yeah, oh yeah. Then let me see, bestie on bestie, I prefer NSC. I love you now, I prefer my money, my money. Let me drop you off, I prefer my walking. Fuck your brilliant things, yeah.
I'm just telling my brother, you can let see them where I left out of chance, right? You don't get it to tell it, I'm looking at what you have money, not keep right. You have bought your phone and focus on you, but doesn't know you what. Do I make you happy and don't fuck my business and leave the broke life? Don't I tell you a bitch that come on rich and tell you to come back. I'd rather take beer and cancel my stress and to focus on love, I will not laugh. That's why I love where to do you. They can relate to you in your tag room. So the hand is here, you want. You will tell the shadow.
That man, let me, don't get down for my haters. Talk about me, in my bag, me don't get time. Oh, me don't get time. Me don't get time. So what is life when there's no love? I think what is life when there's no job? Why we was born when we gon' die? Why we will live when we gon' die? Everybody wanna live a good life. Many people wanna take the wrong side. Everybody wanna live a good life, but many people wanna take the wrong side.
Some money to all the pitch in the city, man. The big bill, I wanna look at the city, I think that let me last dinner. You want to all women and I eat it, won't get up last dinner. They don't know about till I go about, man, until I take it to my papa. You're going to sit down, you must be inside, you want to say it's a pasta. We're saying to make the pasta, probably they will show you a bamboo. Every piece is strong, you can't go for the minute from the man in bamboo. They got men and I will tell you, they can even tell you for the video. We went on the show, my big mobile phone, you were wearing a video. 30 minutes like a guy, you don't run, 30 minutes, you're pretty. I live it with the part of the minute, I let you. There's nothing I didn't have to do when I was
some people come around when you see the money. Everything I like, say I'm
You hear me, Musa, you're not here with me. My God, who shall I stay so you can stand me? You let me know how they get or you can swallow me. Then I can't imagine that they can stand me. My blood to better tell it after we try me to run for your tell it after we. I can't tell it after your man team was dead, then it's from me and I'm going down. Then I try to bring it down, but then I want you. They don't get me all right, I want you. Then I try to bring it down, but then I want you. They don't get me all right, I want you.
Tell them say the juju like woman, they call a man. Say my blessings start coming, they can't understand. I hold the money go without pretense. I get in your give her in my defense. I try, but it fade and I never feel. I don't cheche pull it, you might leave me. Me, my friend, and my children, they're the more. And I tell you, we get more.
Then I try to bring me down, but then I want you. You don't get me all right, I don't want you. I don't want you. Yeah, I try to bring me down, but I don't want you. You don't get me all right, I don't want you. Let's try, you don't get the bomb. They can't get the
All right, folks. Welcome right here to the People's Platform. If you are watching, you are following us from wherever you are, welcome here. Depending on the time, of your location, whether it is morning, it is afternoon, it is evening, whatever it is, welcome to this platform. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We have, the hottest discussions and topics looking at things here happening within our society. We're going to be discussing issues. There's a typical saying. You talk about someone talk about you. So we are going to be discussing relevant issues here regarding Mama's Liberia. We are going to be looking at issues that matters to the heart of the people. So, with that being said, we have our topics that are going to interest you, our topics that are going to obviously bring a lot of questions and expecting a lot of participation right here. And we encourage you to share this show, share this platform, let our people know. These are things that obviously of concern to the Liberian people. So if you are following us by StreamYard Facebook, you can as well follow us by our website. You can follow us as well by our app on the Play Store. We have our YouTube channel as well too. And our app goes all over the world. Again, this is a breaking news that needs to be discussed. And this is something that ain't going to end right now. We have questions, and we need answers. And like I said, this is going to be something that, of course, Liberians around the world needs to be concerned about and be greatly involved. This is something that we all need to talk about. We all need to ask these questions. We all need to get those answers. So again, if you are just joining, welcome. Please go ahead, share the show, share the platform. Let our brothers and sisters know that this is something that they need to take a seat back, or a back seat rather, and they are going to be amazed if they have never ever thought about this. If they have never even, had the slightest thought. If this has never even crossed their mind, the media stream is getting far more interesting. Far more interesting. The media stream is getting interesting. And you can't even afford to miss this. Even the bigger media streams and things, are basically getting to be disturbed about this. And government are getting involved. Now, there is a shift in, the situation of things going on in Liberia. There's a shift. Now it has almost become a war. It has almost become a war, a social media war that is going on with, the media stream and the government. And we cannot afford, to miss this. Before we start, we will go on by sharing, by sending our shout out to Mr. Dakoli S. David from Gwanga. And I hope I got it right this time. Dakoli S. David, my good friend and brother from Premier FM in Banga. You know, send a shout out to you, dear brother. Hope you are doing good. And we later on, you know, will be bringing out these topics. I'll tell you 4 interesting topics. 4 interesting topics that for Stanton, you know, went on the defense and the offense of the Media Stream Network. Gregory Comer, IG of the police force. Hold on, folks. Steven, you are on air. Is there?
Hello, bro.
Yeah, you are on air. Is that something you call for?
Actually,
go ahead.
Actually, following the conversation. It is very, very interesting. You know, I would also love to join.
Okay.
The conversation later.
Okay.
Yeah, I would love to join the conversation live later. I'm getting prepared.
Okay.
I will soon join you.
All right.
Yeah, but absolutely, I don't know if you are available right now. I want to talk to you. Osalilan. I don't know.
I'm already on air. Like I said, we are on air right now. So even as you are talking, you've been heard. We are on air right now. Yeah.
Okay, I will soon join you.
Okay then. Yeah, so folks, yeah. Sorry for that phone call there. And that is the way in which you can connect with the media, with the station live stream here. This is your host, Willie, right here, coming to you live from Minneapolis, Minnesota. So the very first topic is in discussion here. Are we having a media war with Waterspoon of Spoon Network and the IG, Gregory Comer of the National Police Force or Liberian Police Force of Liberia? Are we having a war? You know, Gregory came out and Gregory made some accusation, allegedly accusation against the media. And that prompted Waterspoon to fire back. We will get into it. The second topic here that we have is that looking at those substances that the police force brought out and burned, the question is, are they the real deal? Are they the real deal? Are they the real substance? Are they actually the real substance? Are they burning the real cocaine? Are those cocaine real? Or they are just powders? Because there is I would say there is an analogy that was made by someone that the pharmaceutical, companies out there, they use cocaine in order to make drugs that we as people, we consume, we take in order to get better. So usually cocaines, marijuanas and things, they are sold to pharmaceutical companies. In return, that makes drugs out of them. So are those substances actually the real deal that our police claim or our government claim that they burn? Or did they burn something different and fooling the Liberian people or misleading the Liberian people? But behind the scene, they intend to actually sell the drugs out there into the market, into the medical field, and pocket the money. That's the next topic. The third topic is, if that substance is the real deal that they burn, for public safety, where they had that substance or the substance burn, Do you think it were the right place for them to have burned such substance? We know for public safety, our people have been avoiding such thing into the market. It burns, it takes onto the airway. People breathe in the air. People breathe in the air. So think about the community where they had that substance burn, how affected the community is when it comes to the air being polluted by such substance. So if that is the real deal, that the burn, how has the air been polluted by such a substance? And the last topic, which makes it the fourth one. The IG tried to show the storage of the National Police where they had the drugs confiscated. Do you really think that that storage is actually free or empty of the drugs? Do you think, in fact, that is the real storage where they had the drugs kept, or they move it elsewhere and lying to journalists and the public that, of course, that those drugs were all taken out of the storage, out of the police custody and destroyed? So not to waste much of your time, let's talk. Now we see that RG came out firing that the media indirectly throwing jars at water spoon, that the media, instead of protecting, the sanity of the Liberian people, instead of being, loyal to the country, they are putting out and feeding the public with wrong and bad information, because they have been compromised, by the cartel, that he has received reliable evidence. He has received reliable information that the media has been compromised by the cartel, that the cartel has paid the media to put out, fake news and information about the drugs. So the media is not creditable these days to listen to, or the media is not reliable to follow. Allegedly, the IGs said that. He spoke lengthily on putting the media down, destroying the image of the media that the Liberian people basically rely upon to be informed. And he never wasted any time. He didn't hold back. He spoke. And if you ask me, I will tell you, he was direct. All those jars he threw were merely at Stanton Waterspoon. Because Stanton Waterspoon is popular out there into the media. Stanton Waterspoon is always bringing out the breaking news. Always, doing the punching lines. So guess what? He attacked Stanton Waterspoon. He attacked the media through Stanton Waterspoon. But it did not stop there. Stanton Waterspoon came on the defense and the offense. Stanton Waterspoon decided to fire back. Stanton Waterspoon went ahead by saying, why is Gregory Cuomo holding back after making a legislative statement that there are some big hands or bigger hands that he's aware of, but he's not calling names? Stanton even stated that, the cartel, as he accused the media of taking bribe from the cartel, what's about them? That even the very Gregory Cuomo man has been compromised as well. He has been paid. And by right or standard, Gregory should be dismissed or fired from his position because they are the ones that are making the country unsafe. Stanton Waterspoon did not take this lightly. So is it a war, a media war that we have? And is it that Stanton Waterspoon is actually in the interest of the Liberian people as speaking the truth? Do we really have, you know, the reliable sources that everything Stanton Waterspoon has spoken about or been speaking about are all true against the government? They said that the government is actually trying the utmost best to make sure that Liberia is safe and free of drugs and crimes. That this party, the Unity Party, is actually trying, they are doing their most best to make sure that our country is safe. Looking at from the time this government, the UP, actually came into power, as compared to the WIA administration, we have had a lot of drugs, you know, when it comes to the quantity, it comes to the number of drugs that we have had, you know, coming to the country there. It is more than the previous government. Yes, it is more. But is it the fact that the government is able to crack down these drugs that are coming into Liberia there, that trying to pass through our airport, that are entering into our country through the different entrances or different areas where especially we do not have security guards, that those areas are quite vulnerable to outsiders? That is why even we had a problem, you know, that happened or that went on, you know, with the Lofa border. The fact that, you know, the border was vulnerable. Not only being vulnerable, but not protected highly. Looking at the connection of people within the government being involved in most cases, most things that have ever happened, that have affected the country. Yes, that have affected our country. Always coming from the top. There's a common saying that says that the fish get rottings, you know, from the head. You know, the fish gets rotting from the head. Yeah. So always we have been seeing things and knowing things that most of the negativities, the incident, the things that are happening within Liberia there are people that have been up there, being actually involved into activities and issues going on within Liberia, and then bringing in and dragging in the common man. You know, when Stanton made his analogy on this whole issue here, one of the concerns here were that why is it the people that have highly been arrested have always been the common man and not even the bigger fish? Even at that, when the common man being arrested or being taken in, at the end of the day, that man gets to walk free. Why? Is it because, as I said, that when you pull rope, push, these people have been, you know, are kind of like concerned and scared that if their connections are, you know, in custody, their names are going to surface? But like I said, let's not hold back. Let's actually listen, you know, to what was said during this press conference.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the press. Gentlemen, shut the door. Press conference has been called to order. I now request that you please see the gathering. Let me welcome all of you in Radio Land and social media platforms are following our citizens in the diaspora. I want to welcome you to this edition of the government's press briefing. Today is Thursday, the 30th of July, and we are grateful to be here. Very quickly, you see the conspicuous presence of the Joint Security of the Nation, Director of the Executive Protection Service, Honorable Sam Gay, the Inspector General of the Bureau of National Police, Honorable Gregory Como, Honorable Fitzgerald Piato, the officer in charge of the LDEA. You see the Honorable Deputy Inspector General of Police. They all here. They're here for a specific reason, which I can tell you. So we also have the Director General of the National Food Assistance Program, and the Chairman of the Lone Star, the Co-Chair of the Lone Star Mobilization Committee, Honorable Cassandra Hampton. They're here to talk on many important issues, but the security people are here. So I've been instructed by my boss to allow them to speak to you, entertain few questions if there are any, and then when they leave, we'll continue with the normal formality of our presentation. So at this point in time, we want to welcome to the microphone the Joint National Security of the Republic of Liberia.
Good afternoon to all. On behalf of the Joint National Security Investigative Team, headed by the Attorney General of the Republic of Liberia, we would like to give this brief update regarding the situation that we are currently dealing with, which is indeed a national security crisis in this country. And it has been recognized as such. It has been established, and at the level of the National Security Council, it has become a priority issue with specific instructions that all heads get on deck to deal with this issue and bring it to a permanent end in Liberia. Before I continue, I would like to acknowledge the presence of the Attorney General who just walked in. So, we are present. We didn't think the Attorney General would have made it, but this just shows the commitment to this particular process and has been authorized by the Attorney General of the Republic of Nigeria to continue this particular briefing. It's absolutely imperative at this point in time that we get some detailed understanding as to what we're dealing with here in this country. And I think a lot of actors take it for a joke, and they see it as a means of monetizing and popularizing themselves at the expense of the integrity, the safety, the state, and the people of Nigeria. It's very disappointing to see those who we depend upon to inform the public falling very much.
Emmanuel.
Yes. What's going on, man? Long time. Hello? You hear me?
Yes. I'm hearing you. I'm just trying to check to make sure that the background is good.
Okay.
All right, now we should be good. So yeah, welcome, man, if you don't mind. Long time, man. It's good to be sitting, out here again. Once more, it's good to be sitting out here once more again with you. We come a long way, and yeah. But brother, you can't get old. They're way back, man. What you eating? What you do? What's happening?
My brother, we just try to stay alive and thank God for our parents and for giving us what they give us. Yeah.
The gene, yeah.
And then making it, that's all. Over here.
That's good. So yeah, we are looking at trending issues, in regards to exactly what is going on. As we all know, back home, we are definitely engaged in this whole drugs situation that we have with the country, and like I told you, behind closed door, about how it is so highly important to speak about this, because this concerns all of us. You don't have to be a politician, before you get yourself involved with the safety of our brothers and sisters, or even the integrity of our country. So yeah. But I appreciate you, being out here, and also to at least catching up, to know that basically we got things going. We haven't fallen behind, or things have not fallen apart. Welcome.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And it seems you have gone far ahead. But I mean, I appreciate what you have been doing, and it seems like you are doing big things now. But hey, it's good to catch up again. Now, hopefully, we can partner. We can have a good partnership somewhere else, and move
Great.
forward. But we have to keep talking about Liberia, because that's the only country we were born in, and that's the only country we will always be. Even if America say we're sending you back somewhere, that's the only place we can go that no one can deport us. So we have to fight. Yeah, we got to do whatever we can do in our humanly possible way to talk about the ills in society, which I think especially the drugs issue, we need to really discuss it and show to our Liberian people how impactful it would be, negatively especially, on our country, if we allow it to go out of control. Yeah, but I think it's a good topic to discuss, and I think I'm willing to have my input in there.
All right, so not to waste much of our time and our listeners' time, so we started up with the discussion, the issue here, or the topic on the discussion here about the quantity of drugs that are being destroyed. First of all, if that is even the right thing that we are looking at, that has been, given to the public, or being told that has been destroyed. One. The second thing here that is concerning is looking at what now that is transpiring between the social media and the government of Liberia, the police RG, which is Gregory Coma. We have seen Gregory Coma making statements that are alleged, talking about the media being compromised, and which of course Stanton Waterspoon, isn't taking that funny. I saw, like yesterday, his program firing back. So is it a social war now between the police force of Liberia and the media, because that is a great allegation, to be honest, trying to say that, the media has been compromised, where your evidence, your proof, and he said that he has a reliable evidence that shows that. So now Stanton Witherspoon is saying that also he should bring out and show up those evidences that he's talking about, as well as also too, Stanton is requesting that he be fired because he himself being compromised. The fact that he admitted that he know there are some bigger hands, within the government that are involved, but these people are not brought out into the public domain yet, So it's like he's supporting or hiding these people, The next thing here is concerning, are those substances the real ones? I mean, we just see them talking about, this is the cocaine here. This is the cocaine that we have captured or we have taken away, from those drug dealers. How sure are we that those products are real, And another thing I told you about too is looking at public safety, looking at where the substance were disposed, and being burned. And we know exactly what cocaine does, polluting the airway. And we take in the airway, we breathe the airway, and looking at the community, within that area where it was destroyed and burned. How safe is the community, due to that situation? So I will let you say a few things about it, then we can go ahead and, listen to this press conference where he spoke lengthily about it.
So when it comes to whether there's a bribery issue from the press, that I don't know how it came about, but one thing I think will cause some of these misinformation or whatever we want to call it is if there is an investigation going on in the country, and especially an investigation at this magnitude, right? We're talking $300 or so more $1 million worth of drugs, and the public are not being told, right? And I want us to look at it from a different angle. Let us think about what's going on with our society. If you look at historical data or historical information, we as a people have always allowed our oppressors to spread the messages, right? When it comes to our traditional languages, we change it to letting the Westerners write our history, even though it is our history, but we allow other people to tell our history, and then we get mad why they're telling our history the wrong way, right? I think a similar thing happening here, and maybe the IG is getting frustrated that people are asking the questions that he's not answering. If we all can remember I think it's almost 2 months now since we started talking about drugs. We started with $19 million drugs, and then we came to this $300 million drugs. And we know drugs issue have been something in the country now for a while, right? Because during early 2010, we heard about $50 million and another $1,000 and this $1 million. And then during George Weah time, we heard about the same thing, $100 million, where the guys were given their money, I think $200,000, and they left the country. The court could not find reason to convict them. And now this time around, it's $300+ million. But if society is not getting the information they need from the reputable authority, where you are leaving society the opportunity to give whatever information they feel like giving. And I think that's what's happening here, where information have been given that may or may not be reliable, whether it is the Spoon Network or any other platform that is giving information out. Now, and I think out of that comes with frustration from the IG when he's hearing all this information, whether they are truthful or not, but they are out in the public sphere. And once people are saying these things and you're not countering that with facts or information relevant to the issues or to the concern, then I think it becomes sticky, especially in an environment where some of those people that are being names that are being called are within the IG's inner circle, right? I think there was sometimes the frustration comes about, because then from what our people always told us is, show me your friend and I'll tell you who you are. Right? Mm-hmm. And these people are not just his deputies. But from what we are hearing in the public is that some of these people are very close to him, because I can work with my team, and my team and I are not hanging out in the club and other places, right? We just go strictly is work, and that's it. But it seemed from what we have heard in the public that his relationship with some of these people names that are coming out is deeper than just work. It's deeper than professional relationship, right? It has personal relationship as well. So with that being said, if anyone is seeing you as that chief of police who's supposed to be giving us information regarding these drugs, then it is upon you now to disassociate yourself from some of these people names that are coming up, right? And then some of the steps that have been taken, especially with drugs in our country. We all have seen, in my opinion, some of the victims be paraded in the street, some of them be whipped. Okay, we got a lot of people in Central South Beach right now who were caught with maybe a little quantity of drugs. They were publicized, they were videotaped, they were whipped, they were arrested. Without judicial process, they were put in jail. And some of them are there. One of the famous one was the musician. I don't know him too well, but those who, I think they say Rocky, I don't know, Bucky or what some name he has. I don't know. Bucky Raw. Okay, yeah, Bucky Raw. The guy was paraded in according to what we heard from the same publicity that was given, it was backed by him. When I say him, the police.
You are talking to Radio LB.
When they caught this guy with
the best hits.
For personal use in the public, he was publicly disgraced, and I heard up to now he's still in prison. They have not had a day in court yet. So if we see all these things happening with Liberians, and they are being whipped, put in jail, put in torture, have not had a day in court, non-billable. We know it's a non-billable offense. But then when we see people who have masterminded, according to him, his statement yesterday, have masterminded the transportation of this good for these goods, or have some impact on this particular drug, and they are still, some of them are still going to work, and some of them are still doing their normal businesses, right? The press gets frustrated, the citizens get frustrated. So, Mr. Yes, he may think that somebody is bribing somebody, which still needs to be proven. But I think he himself or his department or those that are involved when it comes to this the drugs issue have not been transparent to the Liberian people. So when you do that, it leaves people to come up with their own conclusion. Because if you who are supposed to give the information are not giving the information, then people make up their mind and say, you know what, I'm going to just spew out whatever I can spew out, whatever sticks. And that's what's happening here, in my opinion.
But do you by any chance or means, do you think, you know, that the statement he made, you know, though we are going to play his video and listening to him, but if I'm not mistaken, over here, hearing him saying that having sufficient evidence reliably that the media has been compromised, when the media should be protecting, you know, the image, you know, of its country. Do you think that if he can come out to say that about the media, and as well as saying that there are bigger hands, you know, into this that he knows, don't you think that he should be neutral by, you know, bringing out people that are involved into this thing here and making sure that they face the full law of the of justice? Don't you think he should be doing that instead of just speaking in tongues and parables?
So first of all, when it comes to the media institution, I don't think he's the right person to be saying that. He should be more concerned of the LMP being compromised, because there we see most of the compromise taking place, right? So I would have left that to the press union. I would have left that to the Ministry of Information or those people who are in authority to kind of investigate the media or talk about the media. But if we look at what's going on right now, if you were to put these two on a justice table, for example, looking at the evidence that we're seeing, he himself charging members of, in fact, his principal deputies, he's charging them and dismissing some of them. So if I was concerned about somebody being compromised, I wouldn't be looking somewhere else. I'll be looking within the LNP instead of focusing on the media. The media job is to give information. Now, We may not agree with what the media says, right? But that's their job. Their job is to give out information. Now, if he wants to control the media, in my opinion, is to give the information or feed the information to the media so that the media can run with it. But if you are not giving information that is expected in these kind of critical cases, well, you leave the media with the option of making up whatever they want to make up, right? They will find information where they can find it, and they're going to put those informations out. Now, if you think that the media is compromised, then let the Justice Ministry or let the Information Ministry take care of that. But I would not be expecting him, and I don't think he's the right person to be asking or even accusing anybody of being compromised when his department, the police department, is heavily involved in this drug issue. So I don't think he's the right person to say that.
Okay, let's go ahead and listen to his recording.
The same actions of the DTOs are drug trafficking organizations. And one of the things that we're battling at this point in time is the fact that these DTOs have sold almost over $336 million worth of narcotics here. Definitely one of the things they have access to is unlimited resources. And we've been able to verify and establish that they have infused money into the media to change the narrative, distract key players in the investigation, and just sow a serious seed of discord. And that is not just hurting the investigation, it's hurting this nation. If you claim the patriotism that you build your platform upon and you stand upon to say you're doing this to redeem this nation, for once, put our moral bankruptcy aside and do something for the future of this country. 2024 President Walker declared this.
Moral bankruptcy. Moral bankruptcy. What? That is too harsh. Emmanuel, that is too harsh. I hope you heard that.
So, again, morality is, and morality depends on who's speaking and what context you are speaking from. Because I watched Inspector Comer, Gregory Comer, when he was at the Senate hearing, when the $19 million drugs issue was out. I watched him answer almost every question for all joint security personnel that was there. I watched that live, by the way, and I followed the entire thing. When they sent question to the LDEA boss, he would interrupt and answer. When they sent question to other entities, he jumped in and answered. And he was very aggressive, in my opinion, on that day. Now, fast forward, when I saw him give his first press conference identifying some of those people that were accused, he was very timid. He was very kind of reluctant, in my opinion, and from my observation, to give those names because some of them were very close to him. So if we want to talk about morality, well, I don't think right now that is what we should be talking about, in my opinion, because the country is fighting a war. We may not see it as it is now, but we have been fighting war against drugs for a long time. I remember 2024, when President Walker had just come to office. I think it was around February or March. The first month or two, the first thing he did was to do a drug test. And from my point of view, and I think we made a show about that and I discussed that, I said, look, what the president is doing, in my opinion, at the time, I said, this was just a show. Because I work in the laboratory and I know what it takes when you want to fight drugs intentionally. And I said in our podcast that if you really want to fight drugs intentionally, the first thing you need to do is train people who will fight these guys. Because at the time, we're not talking about trafficking. We're focusing on the victims, okay? Our disadvantaged youth who are being the victim of the drugs. That's the focus at the time. And he said the war against drugs was, his government was intending to do that. And I felt that it was not intentional. Because in order for you to fight drugs, especially tackling the disadvantaged youth, the first thing you need to do is build a good laboratory system that will test people on a regular basis, have a rehabilitation center that will keep those people there and provide certain incentives, and then have vocational school or something, create jobs that will get some of these people busy, so that you can say I'm not saying you're going to do it in the first year, but you can have those plans in place and say, okay, in the next 5 years, we want to make sure before our first 10 years over, we got at least 50% or 60% of the disadvantaged young people off the street or all drugs, and they are basically doing something. That has not happened in 2.5 years. Now we have the trafficking going on. So when you look at these things, victims, and now we have traffickers. Our security system, and I had another show on that too, as looking at our security system. I said, especially when the Guinea border stuff started, I said there is no way you'll be paying our security agency the amount of money you're paying them now and expect them to fight any crime. Okay, it is difficult. It is impossible, in my opinion, that you're going to put moral at the height of anything, and the man is going home hungry with moral standard. That doesn't work. I cannot go and defend morality when I'm hungry. It does not work. If the IG is really serious and want to talk about morality, the first thing he should do is let us start with him. His police guys are standing in the street. Those guys are making $150. He lives in a nice neighborhood. He drives beautiful cars, protected, well protected. If we want to start with moral high ground, those are issues you should start addressing first. Make sure that the minimum a police officer, and I mean the minimum a police officer is receiving, is no less than $1,000 in Liberia. Because the IG, if we want to talk about morality, his cell phone or scratch card is paid for by the government. His transportation, he got gas money. Even the house he lives in, whether he own it or not, the government pays for that. His food, the government pays for that. So if you want to talk about morality, let us start with that morality. Let us start with the people that are serving under him, who you pay $150. You don't buy them scratch card. You don't pay that way to go home. Their children don't have money to go to school. So let's address that first. But in order for us to fight drugs, again, we got to be intentional. You got to make sure those that are fighting the drugs cannot be compromised easily. And how do you do that? By giving them livable wage. Incentives that will make them to say, you know what? I will defend my country with my life. Look, I serve in the United States military. When we serve, our family are taken care of. My family don't pay for doctor care. We get mortgage pay or rent pay. We get education for our kids free. We got all those incentives so that when I go on the front or when I go to serve, I'm not saying, oh, my wife doesn't have food today. Oh, what my mortgage or my rent and all that stuff. But the guy who is sitting in the street, if we want to, and I'm addressing morality here, or Will, I'm addressing morality here. If we want to talk about morality, let us take care of those people that are on the front line. Then we can address morality. So if you want people to defend the country based on morality, let us start by giving incentives to those police people who are on the street in the hot sun, and when they come home, let their family have food to eat. But he cannot be driving the best car. Whenever he's ready to leave to go to work, he get there within 20, 30 minutes. Okay? When he's ready to get food, he has it around his table. When his children need to go to school, it's there. And I bet if you check, his children may not even be in Liberia going to school. They might be in America or somewhere else going to school.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? So if we want to talk about morality, let us start from there. But Gregory Coleman, in my opinion, has no right to even bring up the word morality.
Okay, let's go ahead and continue listening to his press conference.
What we do know at this point in time with our investigation that established is very alarming. I'll take you back to 2008 when Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, then President of the Republic of Liberia, called upon the U.S. government and asked specific requests from the U.S. DEA come in, specifically the special operator, the SPB of the USDA, to come and work along with law enforcement to deal with cartel-related issues. Between 2008 and 2013, that mission was successfully concluded. We had over 11 non-desirous immigrants who were part of cartel operations expelled from Liberia and sent to the Southern District Court of New York. They were prosecuted, all successfully, and given between 5 to 33 years in prison. And to prove that that operation was successful, there was subsequent undercover operations attempting to lure other cartel operators back into Liberia, and they all refused because Liberia was a no-go zone for any form of drug trafficking or cartel-related operation. It was synonymous to saying, let's have a discussion about moving narcotics to the US. So that we're 100% certain with facts, evidence. Up to 2018, this did not exist in Liberia. It did not exist at all. Fast forward to what we're dealing with right now. Cartel decided to make their way back into Liberia after 2+ years into this administration, with most players who were directly involved and directly supporting those efforts, state actors, out of the way. Notwithstanding, even if those state actors were removed, their command and operational level still somehow remain in place because these actors did not unilaterally do things, they operated with other people. Somehow, it made their way in, convinced them that they have re-established operational command and that they could find safe haven to move the narcotics back into Liberia. We've had issues of trafficking through our borders with Sierra Leone, Guinea, Cote d'Ivoire, all of our borders because they're extremely porous and people have been able to successfully move stuff back and forth. But to this extent, I wish it was attempted. We had never seen that before. So they were convinced that they had the free will to move stuff here. They did what they consider water job, brought the narcotics, but both came into the waterways, into this country. This was the first major landing as a result of extensive work done by the Joint Security. The NSA led the charge for over a year. Following these operations, the first attempt would have been an air job that did not succeed. They switched to doing a water job. EPS and the police at some point in time also picked on this particular operation, sought authorization from the National Security Council, and was authorized to immediately take this down. So we've been working on this. What you're seeing is the strength that comes from the unity of the Joint Security. We brought together everything that we had acquired, EPS and the police working together, the NSA, and were able to verify and corroborate every last piece of evidence that we have collected over a period of time. The first movement was assisted by state actors, not at the most senior level, but within operational command, people who had authority at some level. As such today,
you know, we will continue, but something just greatly came to my mind here. Knowing you as a professional person and knowing a little bit about your background. I watched the interview where it was exposed at which the drugs had entered into the country, that entry point, completely unguarded. no security, no checkpoint. As a security man or former, military man, how do you look at the security aspect of our country? Because in fact, that's how, in fact, Lofa border is even affected today.
Again, and Inspector Coleman indicated from 2008 to 2013, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, I still to be corrected. I think under Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, he was the police director, I think, or he was playing a major part.
Yeah, he was the police director again, and then later on, I think when George Weah came, then they had him removed. Yeah.
Yes, and I know because I remember I followed him and I respected him at the time because I know he came here also. He came from here, went to Liberia, got a job, and then came back here, got some training, and then went back. And he started putting some things in place, in my opinion, that I felt that the police were getting respected in the first term. But this time around, and I'm trying to figure out what happened. Right? What happened? Because I remember during that time, yes, the police were not really being paid the way they're supposed to be paid. But when I visited Liberia 1 or 2 times during that time, there was some semblance of, and again, there were a lot of multiple factors that was there. We had just come from war. People were still trying to train. We had the United Nations police in the country. So maybe that's why we didn't see some of the things, because they were outside eyes. Maybe that's why it worked at the time, because we had external eyes that were there. Because ECOMO, United Nations peacekeeping, whatever mission, was staying in Liberia, and we have foreign police forces that were staying in Liberia, keeping the peace and the security of the country. So maybe that is why those things were not seen. But if he, as a police director coming in, knowing what have happened under their first reign, should have thought about upgrading the police system, especially the border. Okay, he should have thought about that, because I don't think we all know what happened during the Weah-led government. We saw that drug trafficking was a big thing. We saw it. I mean, no one can deny that during George Weah time. Kush was there. We saw people killing themselves in the street in Liberia during that time. Right? It was something that was there. And there were videos that I went back, I was looking, and we saw people parading the street and saying what we want Kush or something like that. We want Kush. And they were demonstrating, representing their government, their pro-government demonstration. It didn't make sense to us who were on the outside. But I would think, coming in as a former police director and then a new police director, those are measures that you was put in place to prevent the traffickers, right? To prevent these things. Yes, he said a few things. He said there were state actors in the previous government, because he said there was none of these things happening from 2013 to 2018. Okay, let be that if it was. But then he's trying to tell us that from 2019, before the election 2023, there were all these trafficking stuff started happening and people started gaining ground again. Per his statement, those senior state actors that were part of that group, when they were leaving, they left 4 soldiers. That's what I got from his statement. They left 4 soldiers. Now, I would think, as a police director who knows the system, I would try to weed out those 4 soldiers. But instead, he kept those 4 soldiers in, whether in his department or other department. But at least he should deal with his department. But he didn't do it. Now, knowing what I know when it comes to security, and I will say it again, if we're really serious to fight crimes, to secure our borders, and do all the other stuff, we must be intentional. That is, instead of spending $15,000, $20,000 on lawmakers and some ministers and stuff, let us divert those resources to the foot soldiers. Let a man be able to go to work, and don't worry about coming home with no food for his children, coming home with school fees, a demand, and all that stuff, right? If we don't do that, there's a serious implication of those people being compromised. Because I cannot be making $150 a month, and then somebody come and tell me, look, I got this $200 million drugs. I can give you $5,000. Knowing what I know, see what I see, and say I'm going to say no, I'm not accepting $5,000. And I'm not saying they should do it, but let's be real. We got to be realistic. There is no way, even they who making the bucks. Let me give you a simple scenario here. Let's look at the lawmakers, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the last few years, we know the lawmakers, everything is paid for. Gas, transportation, horse, everything is paid for, right?
Even up to their cooks or their domestic workers being paid for by the government.
Everything is paid for by the government, right?
Mm-hmm.
And yet, these people in their district, when they sign a concession agreement, they're still taking on hand cash. With all the money, even though they got enough money, they get paid for everything. They got enough money to sustain themselves. But they're still not doing the work they're supposed to do for the district they represent. I'm just telling you. So think about if a person is making $15,000 a month, US in Liberia a month, and he's still not, when he want to do a certain job or to do his own job, he's still expecting to get handout. He's still expecting to get tip. Then think about the man who is sitting in the street making $150 a month. Some of them less than $150. And then you're going to tell me he will know his, when he going at a roof of food, he got to walk to that under that $150. He's not getting scratch card paid for. No, his cell phone bill is coming from that $150. His rent is coming from that $150. His children's school fee coming from that $150. His food coming, everything you talk about is coming from that $150. But the man who is making $15,000, everything he wants is paid for by the government. Now, are you expecting that man who is getting $150 now to receive $1,000 and let the drugs go? Come on, we got to be serious about it. In order for security to work in Liberia, you have to pay for it. Take some of the money from people like Gregory Coleman.
All over the world says security are highly paid. They are like the medical, they like the medical field, you know?
Yeah.
Seriously.
And every mission they go on, they get per dime. Every mission they go on, they get per dimes. But these guys, you send a hungry man to go and fight crime. Come on, let's be serious. We have to be intentional. We've got to address the underlying or the root cause of these issues before we start blaming people. Here the guy, let's look at what happened in his office, where the man took $10,000. And this is the patrol guy, the intelligent guy, who already making 5,000, 6,000. I don't know how much he make, maybe $2,000 or $3,000 a month. I don't know how much he make, but he has his own car assigned to him. He get fuel, and I bet he getting his scratch card paid for. But yeah, he taking $10,000 bribe. Yes, and and that's how the NSA boss said they should get rid of him. So I'm just trying to look at the reality here. Yeah. So in order for Mr. Coleman and the president and everybody to be serious, and in fact Liberia as a whole, including the opposition leader who wanted to become president, we got to be intentional about these things. We can't sit and just talk about it. Yeah. We can't expect to come opposition, because right now somebody that's sitting in opposition, they don't have a plan. They're not drawing our plan what they would do. No, they want to become president before everybody start making plan.
Just all talk, and trying and hoping that they can convince the Liberian people.
The lawmakers themselves are part of this problem we have, because they themselves are not holding the people accountable.
Mm-hmm. But going into the next aspect of your expertise, the fact that you work into the pharmaceutical, department or area, or with drugs, they say, as a military man as well, you do or should have a vast experience on this issue here. I've been very concerned about looking at the location of where these drugs. Let's just assume allegedly that those drugs are real. The area, the community, the public in which they have those drugs disposed and destroyed or burned. What do you think about public safety hazard?
There is a public hazard. You see, right before coming, I decided to go and actually look because I know in the lab, because I work in the lab, right? We test these medication or drugs. In fact, before you put any medication on the street, we have to test it in the lab before you can go in before the pharmaceutical people can start selling it, right?
Okay.
So, and most of the when we have some of these things, the best thing we can do to destroy them is we use the incinerator. Okay, we use the incinerator because it's a closed container. You put it in there, it burns, and no smoke going out into the atmosphere. I think it's a public hazard. It's a health hazard, not public, but health hazard to burn huge quantity of illicit drugs. Because let us not forget there are chemicals in there, right? And those chemicals, you're adding fire to it. Just fire by itself. If we take, for example, the car we drive, right? When it burns the gasoline, what come out? Carbon monoxide. And we know carbon monoxide is not good for our health, right? The people who smoke cigarette, we talk about the cancer, the lung cancer that they get. Now think about the other chemicals in the cocaine, because meth is in there, methamphetamine is there, and you got other chemicals that are combined to make that particular, to make the ingredient of the cocaine, right? And then you are burning a huge quantity in the public, in the open. People, those smoke will be lingering around in the community. I know in Liberia, we don't really focus on, because people are so busy fighting to survive, they don't pay attention to health hazards and stuff like that, right? Because I'm looking about getting up in the morning, look for food to eat, then you tell me about smoking in the air. Who cares? If I don't find food to eat now, hunger will kill me. They talk about something that I will worry about down the line, you know. And that way,
even the cigarette said that we smoke, our people smoke. You talking to them about it, they feel like you on your own.
Yeah, right here, you and I, when we walk in the street and somebody come around and smoke secondhand, we're concerned about secondhand cigarette. Back there, the man is talking about looking for food to eat. He don't care where he go to find out food, whether somebody is smoking there, whatever they do. He is there first to get his primary objective accomplished. That is, get the food he wants, and then maybe you can talk about the smoke later. And that's what's happening in Liberia, right? People don't see the danger now, but down the line, it's where people will understand. And again, unfortunately, in Liberia, we're not doing any study. We are not going into the community to test people for different conditions or diseases or cancers. We're not testing for these things. But by the time the person dies, we found this other person who called witchcraft that are there. Then we blame them for it. But these are things that are killing people in our country. So that huge quantity, whatever community brand it in, yes, those who are inhaling those smoke will be impacted one way or the other. It may not be right now, it may not be immediate, but in the long run, unfortunately, we don't have a means of testing those people to see what causing that illness. Why are they suffering from whatever lung cancer, whether it is lung cancer, whether it's tuberculosis, whatever the condition it will be at that time. We're not going to know whether it's pneumonia or whatever, how they develop it. We're not studying. In Liberia, we don't look for the root cause. We just want to solve the problem. And in order for us to solve problem, we need to know the root cause, right? If we know the root cause, then we can find a solution. Then we can find prevention. But honestly, that burning, in my opinion, and from what I know from most other countries, they use incinerator to get rid of those kind of drugs, not in the public sphere.
So most likely they were not professional when it comes to what they did in the destruction of those substances.
Yeah, I think they should have worked with the health ministry, because that way, you see, that's why you have a government, right? You're supposed to work with the health ministry, the EPA, and all those agencies. They're supposed to come together to find a better way to dispose that drugs, in my opinion. But hey, it's Liberia. People tend to do things the way they want to do it and find an immediate solution and not, a long-term solution.
Yeah. So like, and like you mentioned, they should have worked with the health authority and other departments in order to do the disposal of that drugs. We saw that Gregory Coleman, there's a video that is floating around, Gregory Coleman showing the warehouse in which those drugs were kept when they were confiscated, confiscated when they put them into the warehouse. Now, he came back and displaying that the warehouse has been empty or has been cleared out of those drugs. And reality speaking is that many the drugs, were actually the drugs that they had or they have outside for destruction. Now, how can we prove, I mean, for real, that it is the real substance that they had out there destroying, or, overnight, or when people were not watching, they had those things replaced? I mean, from your expertise, how do you think we can really?
Yeah, so in that manner, right, it's going to be a challenge for anyone to prove whether what was burned was the actual one. We just got to take the police word for it. Unfortunately or fortunately, we only got to take their word for it.
Yeah.
Whatever
There
they say,
where the medical team should have come in, right? Don't you think? Because there where those things can be tested, and even if the pharmaceutical department they had there could verify, those were the real substance. Don't you think so?
So this is how I think we should look at it going forward, because this one we're not going to get anything
Any good answer out of it.
Yeah, what we hearing that it was burned and that's it. But what I think the government needs to start thinking about, or the police department needs to start thinking about, is about a proper way to dispose these things, right? Where they can build an incinerator. Whether, I don't know where they're going to build it, but you can build an incinerator. And when they have these things, they can have their team go there, evaluate it, and just incinerate it, right? And dispose it safely so that it don't affect society. Now, I will be frank with you. It's not, and what I'm saying is not just limited to Liberia, right? It's even in the United States here. We should not forget that drugs has a huge cash value. It has a huge cash value. So every government, including the one in the United States here, some of the very people who will be telling, oh, we're fighting against drugs, we're fighting. Some of them are the main people who can be patronizing and benefiting from the drugs, from the drug cartel, even in this country, in the United States. So we shouldn't act like Liberia is the only one. No, it is kind of difficult for any of us to say, look, we're going to test. I think they said 3,000. I don't know, 3,000 kilo or 3,000 pounds.
Yeah, 3,000. I think in 17. Something
3,400 pounds, whatever that is. But over 3,000 pounds of drugs that you're going to open each stuff to test it. I mean, it's almost impossible. It's not realistic. All we can do is hold the police by their word. Whatever they tell us, and hopefully we can trust them. That's the problem. There is a challenge.
But like during early time, like he even stated, I don't mean to cut you, even in his press conference during early time, there were international body that got involved. Completely neutral, body that came in and make sure that those drugs were safely taken care of and taken out of the public and all those stuff there. Don't you think? I know it's about time for us to start trusting our own people, our government, our military, but looking at the way things are going, looking at the system being corrupt and the system being compromised. Do you think that we are fully ready to take care of these kinds of responsibility, or they should have still contacted international body?
I don't want to dwell on this international. I know I hear people talking about international. Look, we just celebrated 179 years of independence. Okay, I think and I believe we have qualified Liberians who can do these jobs. We have them. We don't need international ready. We don't need. All we need is to direct our resources in the right direction. When it comes to training, let us train our people. Look, we shouldn't. Let me digress a little bit. I think from what I know, I don't know. Maybe they have gotten another person, but I know so far we have one neurosurgeon in Liberia. From what I know, and that neurosurgeon, if he was in the United States, he's a millionaire. And if he was the only neurosurgeon in America, he'd be multi-millionaire. But in Liberia, he's getting underpaid. So my point is, if we are really serious to fight these things, we should put our resources and we should prioritize the usage of our resources, right? If you want to fight drugs, the drugs itself could pay for its own maintenance or whatever you want to take. For example, every time you knock down a drug cartel, they always have cash. That cash can be used to take care of, if you want to build an incinerator, you can build it, if they're not diverting the cash somewhere else. But they always got cash on there. Even in the United States, if you see, and that's why drug cartels in the United States and other places, what they do is they will be investing in casino, they'll be investing in hotel, gas station, or whatever they can invest in to clean their money. But the money is there. But even outside of that, though, we can do it gradually. If this year we say we're allotting $50,000 to the drug department, the LDEA, let us start saying, okay, let's take $10,000 and start building an incinerator or whatever it is and train certain people. But we should pay them good. You have to be intentional when it comes to addressing any issue, whether it's healthcare, whether it's policing, military, anything you want to address, you got to be intentional about it. Let us start wasting money on people who are not working. Look, looking at Liberia, what I think is this. A country that our GDP is less than maybe $5 billion. I don't even think we reach that far, but if I can give them that one to be liberal, let's say our GDP is $5 billion.
It's around $5 billion.
Yeah. Okay. If it is accurate. And $5 billion. What we should be doing is structure our wages based on hourly production. It doesn't matter who, in my opinion. It doesn't matter who. That's the only way we'll do right. If a lawmaker come and work for 2 hours, then he get paid for 2 hours. If a police director come and work for 2 hours, then he get paid for 2 hours. Then the resources will be directed to people who work more. We should be paid according to the work we do until we are balanced. But you got people working 3 hours a week and getting huge amount of money. Then the guy who's spending 16 hours in the street getting $150. You have to be, it comes back to prioritizing our management or resources usage. That's what we have to do. We got to be intentional about it. Okay? You don't expect a guy to go and be standing in the street all day, hungry, and you expect him to fight drugs. You expect him to guide a border. You can't. I think I will look at the military salary in Liberia. I think 4-star general makes less than $6,000 a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
And even at that, we don't even have, as a military, we don't even have equipment. We don't.
Exactly. You would think a country, and I had a show about it also again before. You would think a country coming out of war, your first priority would be to build your defense because you just experienced something. Few things have happened in our country and have seen nothing done about it. Okay? Let's go back in history. The reason they said they killed Toro and they shot those 13 people in the pool, when we watched the video, they were asking the people, where is the Liberian pool money? That means it was corruption. 1990, when Prince Johnson was about to kill Doe, he asked again, where is the Liberian pool money? Again, that means corruption. So if corruption had become a problem in the country over all these years, why haven't we developed a system to be intentional about fighting corruption? The best way to fight corruption is through the justice system. But we have not built a good justice system. That's one. Two, war. War came in Liberia and our future, and that's the reason some of us sitting in America, not because we want to be, because our country became a country of terror that we had to run. When I was growing up, I didn't want to kind of live in America. I always say, yeah, I'll go visit America, but I want to live in Liberia. That was when I was growing up. But then when the war came, we felt that Liberia was no longer a place I want to be because we didn't see our future. That's why we ran to America. So they destroy our future. So after that 14-year war, the first thing you should build is your defense. We didn't do that.
Definitely.
Ebola came 2013, 2014. It showed us the weakness of our healthcare system. Today, Liberia healthcare system is still deplorable. Again, now we got drug trafficking in our country. What are we doing to prepare ourselves for the future?
Yeah.
So we know what our problems are, but we are not intentional about addressing the root cause of those problems. And there where Liberia continue to fail.
Let's continue to listen to RG.
The details will be out and shared directly with through the Press and Public Affairs of the Liberia National Police. We have identified key state actors who played a role in transporting, escorting the movement of these narcotic substances from the landing site to the holding ground, using police vehicles as escort, one in the front, one in the back. These officers have been identified. One is the chief of highway patrol, so Wadel Kwabo, and also the chief of major crimes, Mr. Day, who are subsequently charged in detention at the Liberia National Police headquarters, and will be turned over to the court today for prosecution.
Wow.
We've also identified the deputy commander of the Roberts International Airport for the LDEA as a key actor as well. We have identified other state actors who we're working with. The investigation continues with them. When the time is right, we will be putting the information out. But this is just a clear example to let you know that Nigeria is closed for business. What we know as of today, we're investigating previous state actors at presidential appointment levels who operated between 2019, 21 on to 23. We've been able to identify the command and control of the drug trafficking organization. One key thing that you all should know that these traffickers will never be brave to enter a country with this particular extent of narcotic substances. They had assistance. They weren't convinced. They were shipping out of here in containers. And I mean, the more we dig, the more revealing it becomes, and the case just keep going from one level to another level to another level.
Wow. Let me say this, Emmanuel. You know, this is concerning. That two key things there I noticed. I don't know if you actually took note of them too. One is the people, the police, you know, actors that escorted the drugs and one person from the LDA to be involved. And secondly, when he spoke about top key players between 2019 to 2025, I think that's during George Weah administration or time, that these are people. So is he saying that key players that have been identified into these things here are not even part of this administration? Is he putting it on the previous administration, with the exception, you know, of the police that got involved, you know, into this? And then lastly, what I'm concerned about is that are these people, especially the police and the LDA that they just caught, are they going to actually be honest with the Liberian people to say who are or who were the bosses that in fact put it up to this?
No, that's that. I mean, and that one, you know what our people have, what our people used to say when we grew up. You see, when you haul rope, the rope can haul the bush, right? And there where the tricky part is. Now, even when he first, before you show this one, the previous one, he said the drug trafficking was not in Liberia up to 2018. So when it tells you that, that means the blame is shifting somewhere right there, right? Because then 2019 to 2023, then he naming the high, I say appointed, he said presidential appointees, because these are not low level people.
No, those are higher ranking people.
Exactly. Normally they are, I think the president still appoint assistant ministers, I think. I don't know where you appoint assistant director, but it's from that level up.
Yeah.
Okay. So
And that is relating to the last administration. That's George Weah time.
Yes. And I don't know if Liberian was sleeping, but I think we all knew that that was happening. And I remember I used to hear, and I couldn't prove this. I know at one point I heard that the Colombian embassy was in the port. I don't know how true that was at the time during the George Weah administration. I mean, I was not a journalist, so I didn't go to do investigation, but that was something that I heard that a lot of people talk about when I went to Liberia, that the Colombian embassy, that was the first time that I heard that an embassy can be in the port. Whether it was true or not, that I cannot confirm, but I find it interesting that it was happening at that time. But we have to be real. During the George Weah administration, there was not really a intentional fight against drugs. To be real, we got to be real, right? Why it is true, this one we're seeing some actions, but until somebody is convicted, I will almost kind of compare it to the George Weah era, because yeah, you can come and say you blow all the hot air, arrest people, and no, but what happened after? Because the only people we see sitting in jail, which happened during the George Weah time, by the way, are the small people, the common people, the users. Normally, the users were the ones that were putting in jail during George Weah time. And if I can compare it to other cases, we can go back to the rape cases that were in the country during whether it's Ellen Johnson time and George Weah time. The high people who were identified, some of them were arrested, some of them were evidence proving if our kids died, those people never saw jail time. But the small men, the small people who were accused of rape, some of them just allegedly were put in jail, and some of them are still in jail.
Yeah.
So similar thing happened during George Weah time. So this time, seeing these things that you're arresting people, you're charging these people. I know, yes, during George Weah time, we didn't see them arresting or charging any government official, but it seemed to be the same playbook where you will put the name out, you arrest people, and then when you go to court, you will hear, oh yeah, there was no sufficient evidence, so let the people go.
Just in order for names, top officials not to be dragged outside into the public.
Yeah. So I wouldn't. I mean, there are so many Liberian cases that have gone unresolved. Or if it goes to court, we can go back as far, whether it is government sabotage case, whether it is corruption case, whether it's a rape case, whether it's a murder case. We see these things when the bigger names are involved in any of those cases. We hear about it, and then nothing will be done. But when a small man is involved, the small man will go to jail. Sometimes they don't even go to court. They don't even have court appearance. They go to jail and they lock them up and they throw the key away. So until we can actually see somebody being, besides being named as or whatever you want to call them, besides being named as defendant or whatever you want to call it, a suspect or charged or whatever, until I can see somebody convicted based on the Liberian law, you're supposed to seize their property if it came out of drugs, right? Until I can see those things, this is just another hot air blowing, And honestly, the police themselves made it difficult for us to trust them. I will be frank with you. The way it has been handled in the last month or two, it is difficult to trust what the police says or do.
Yeah. Anyways, so I saw it, so I know it's about time. Thank you so much, basically for giving your contribution right here. We see Nancy Jordan said thank you. Welcome, Nancy. Welcome right here to the platform, LBR. And we see also too as well Daniel Sharif, our broadcaster, one of our broadcasters in Lo-Fi says here. Okay, we see that. Thank you, boss. Okay, so so we know that you have to be running now, and thank you so much, Emmanuel, for being here, for giving in your time and your expertise right here. We all still do this, come together in order to give our own bit and pieces, help make Liberia a better place, however it takes, and I hope that we will be out here, another time, and this shouldn't be just the first time, Thank you. Let me let you make your party statement.
Yeah, so I mean, thank you again for inviting me. It's been a long time, but I know we can do a lot of things, right? Sometimes it takes only one person to start and everybody join and will make great changes. If you look at the civil rights movement in America, it started with one person, and today some of us are benefiting from that. Uh, whatever people started when Kwame Nkrumah started, today Ghana is benefiting. Other African countries benefited from the freedom or the decolonization or whatever independence you want to call it, quote unquote. All we need is one or two people to agree that we can change our country. Believe in it, work on it, and keep fighting for it. And that's what we are here to do. Liberians, this drug issue, I don't want us to treat it as a political fight or political inter-wrangling or whatever that is. Let us address it as a drug issue, because Liberia is not as sophisticated as other countries that have these problems. I'm share border. Houston, Texas share borders, or Texas shares border with Mexico. The cartels are more powerful than the government in Mexico, and the Mexico government is somewhat stronger. In fact, it's strong, but they can still defeat the cartels. You don't want that to happen in Liberia, where we have weak security system, weak healthcare system, weak almost everything. We depend on Arab people for almost food, everything you think about. We talk about input, even the drug investigation. People don't trust the system. They want foreigners to come in. So that tells you that our system is weak. And if it is weak, we do not want to allow drug traffickers to use our country as a transit point or as a production point. Or else you will not be able to walk the street free. Your government, you will not even have a stable government, because every government that will come after and don't align with the drug cartel, that government will be overthrown. Why? Because they will have more money, they will have more power, they will have more authority, they will have more influence even in your government. We don't want that. I remember a few years ago, a city mayor of Mexico, the guy was so tough. As soon as he won the city mayor and he got in office, because he was tough on drugs, the next morning, his family were killed. That's how powerful drug cartels are. Do not encourage it. Do not make it a political or theater. Let us tackle it as a drug issue. Let us stand against it, because when it's found a seat in Liberia, Liberia will not be safe. 14-year war was a joke. With that, Liberians, I want to say again, Will, thank you for your time, and thank you for the invite. For those that join us, thank you for joining us. And until next time, be blessed and stay safe.
Thank you. All right, folks. So yeah, thank you so much for following us. Please go ahead and still share the platform. And this is how we come to an end of our first broadcast right here with your host, Willie. And I had my guest here, Emmanuel. This issue about the drugs business in our country, looking at also to allegedly the accusation between IG Gregory Kuma, of the National Police of Liberia and the press union. Looking also to at the safety, of the public, where these drugs were disposed of, looking at the air, the pollution of the air. Also to being sure that it is the real deal, the real thing that was destroyed. So we're looking into those things there, and we're still going to be coming up with more here. Tonight is our night. We're going to be out here later within the space of the next probably 2 to 3 hours from now. So stay tuned, share the show, and let others know about, this media, Radio LBR. Bye-bye for now. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.